Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and this is the Wednesday video where I answer your questions. Got some really great questions this week. Ones I'm going to show some pretty cool books. Hopefully, you'll enjoy it. First question comes from Quasi Terrible. Great video, man. Super informative as always. I was watching your video. Watching a video by Automatic Comics about Amazing Spider-Man 184 all detergent variant and the increased price and rarity of it. Are there any other promotional comics out there that have some surprising value? I think there was a reprint of Action Comics #1 called Satellite or Safeguard or something like that. I wonder if there are any promo comics that have some important first appearance or key significance. Well, I'll tell you two stories. So one is the Detergent variant is not actually a promotional comic. It's what's called a variant. But there are lots of promotional comics that do have pretty major value. I was actually approached by Lunch Money Comics, Mike from Lunch Money Comics, about a bunch of comics that he had discovered that were golden age and they were pretty cool. And one of them was a promotional comic. So a lot of the time back in the 40s and 50s, like shoe stores and different stores would have giveaway comics or promotional comics where they would give them to kids to kind of get them to come into the store. And one of the ones that he had found was an Archie one. Very high grade, beautiful presenting Archie book. And it was a rare promotional comic that nobody had ever seen before. So I said, well, I have no idea how to even price this thing out. So he got it graded and he sent it off to Heritage Auctions to sell. And I think he got like $6,000 for it. And he ended up using the money to get X-Men #1. That's what it was. X-Men #1 he picked up. So just that gives you a sense of how valuable some of these promotion comics would be. Now, probably the most desired or most famous promotional comic is funny Motion Picture Funnies Weekly, which was a comic that was distributed in movie houses but never actually got distributed in movie houses. So it was found in a warehouse find, or not a warehouse find, like some kind of find later on. But it just happens to have the first appearance of the Submariner. It came out before Marvel #1. So kind of a major book. I think there's less than 200 copies known to exist, probably even less than that. I think there was a print run of about 200, and then not many of them actually survived, like a handful. So the point is that comic goes for crazy amounts of money, maybe in the hundreds of thousands, if not even a million, if you can find a high grade copy of it. So that is probably the most expensive promotional comic out there. So yeah, so I hope that answers your question. I hope you enjoyed that answer. Patriot wrote, your thoughts on the older big Treasury series. So I actually have like one or two from the old Treasury series. I have the Superman versus Muhammad Ali, which I cannot find. Actually, I was trying to find it to show in this video. I don't know where I put it. I know it's somewhere in my room, but I have no idea where I put it. So I've been looking for it. So again, I don't know how I lose big things, but I did lose it, which is odd. So I'm very, very bad about putting things in order. I put things and I think, oh, this is a really good place to put it, and then then I never find it again. But that book is one of the few that are in my collection. And the reason why I'm not a big fan of the Treasury editions is due to the fact that they are big. They're hard to store. So that's probably why I lost it in the first place, because I tried to put it somewhere, oh, it'll be safe here. And then it's not safe. I lose it. But you can't put it into the boxes. It's really awkward to store those things. And that's kind of the problem with them. And I think that's why generally they're pretty beaten up if you find them. So yeah, so I think that's one of the reasons why I'm not a super fan of them, though I actually do like them. It's kind of a contradiction, but I actually think that the artwork is awesome. I love the big size. I like the feeling that, oh, it's a big book. That's all cool. I just wish it was easier to store them. It's just really annoying to store those. I also have the Star Wars one. Like there's a like the it actually features the first appearance of Star Wars in that format. I think it actually came out before the movie did. So yeah, so I have that as well, and I do like them. I just find them awkward to store. Next question comes from I like what I buy. Can you show your top 5 Bernard Baily covers? Sure. So I have this one coming in the mail, like the actual one, but this is a great one. I'm not going to count this. This is number 6, I guess, because I'm going to show 5, but not this one because this is a redo of a Bernard Baily cover. It's Weird Mysteries number 5. It's in the mail. It's on its way to me. I'm just waiting for it. So once it arrives, then I'll actually show it. But this is one of the ones that I really like. Just a crazy monkey brain one. I just think it's awesome. Next one is a really cool one. I was super excited to get this one. This is Weird Chills, another Bernard Baily cover, and it's just a really great one. Like he's getting like poked in the eye, he's getting all clockwork oranged, and with these little demon guys, and he's even like pierced through the lip. It's just an awesome cover. Bernard Baily has a really unique style. Once you see it, you can kind of recognize his style like a mile away. The weird thing is, this style, he changes up his style as he does stuff. And I'll show you what I mean by that once I get there. Now, this is a very different Bernard. Is it this one? Actually, I'm not sure. I don't think this is Bernard Baily. This doesn't look like Bernard Baily. I'm not going to show that one. I'll show a different one. I'll grab another book. Here's another Bernard Baily. Hopefully you can see it. Just a really cool style. This, yeah, obviously is much more his style. Wow, it is so glary. It's like really hard to show. But yeah, so this is Weird Mysteries number 12. I just like these Corpse Bride ones. I don't know why. That's the weird thing. So yeah, this is 1954. And another one is Mr. Mystery number 11. And this is just a really great one. Why are they glaring so much today? Okay, there we go. I just like it. He's getting eaten by ants, which is pretty awesome. And I'm going to show it. I'm going to have to grab one to show. There's another one that I wanted to show. I'm going to grab it. Let's see if I can find it. Oh. One sec here. It's worth it. Just wait. Yes. This is the one I wanted to show. I had to go like grab it. There's like, I have all my Mr. Mysteries in behind the camera, just so you know. And this is the one I wanted to show. Another really great Bernard Baily one. This one's pretty low grade. It's 1.5. Missing a big chunk out right there, but it kind of works. But this is just a great Injury to Eye Bernard Baily cover. I think it's a pretty awesome one. I just like the fact that he's got sweat pouring down his brow, and he's like got tear coming from his eyes. Eyes is all bloodshot. He's just like, he's not having a good day, as this not only a hot poker, but a flaming hot poker is coming towards his face. And I like the glow that the Bernard Baily created around it. The flames and the glow. Pretty awesome. Okay. And last but not least, this one's an awesome one, is he did a really great job on More Fun Comics. Some of his most recognized covers would be from More Fun Comics. I think it's like 56 or something like that, or 57, one of those ones, where it's considered to be his masterpiece. But More Fun Comics, really awesome. This is the first appearance of Dr. Fate as well. This is More Fun Comics number 55. But I really like Bernard Baily. Especially his spirit covers are pretty awesome. Okay, so those are 5 of my favorite Bernard Baily covers. Yeah, hope you enjoyed that. um, Next question comes from Adrift. Um, who are some of the Golden Age creators that we know very little about? And what are your favorite works by them? There's a lot of Golden Age artists that don't get maybe the recognition or credit that they deserved, or sort of been lost a little bit to history. I'm going to show you 3 good girl art ones that I kind of like, and they don't like. You can almost see in the value of the books how underappreciated they are, because these are actually fairly affordable. Like these ones are. This Fritzy Ritz books. And this is Ernie Bushmiller, and you gotta like his style. It's one of those things where if you don't like his style, you probably don't appreciate it. But I kind of like his style. It's very cartoony, but it's also good girly. I just really like it. You got Fritzy Ritz always being kind of in a bikini or something like that. Just really kind of sexy, and I just find it fun. Just wearing a short skirt here. Um, I just really like the style. It's got that 40s hairstyle thing going on, and I don't know. I just find them kind of fun. And here's one more by Ernie Bushmiller. I think this one's really cute. She's like thinking that they're all staring at his tie, but she's doing the same pose as the girl on the dress on the tie. So with her dress flying up. So it's just really cute. Like just a bit of a Marilyn Monroe thing going on there. So Ernie Bushmiller. Okay, so that's the first. Another one that I like, and again, it's a bit of an acquired taste, is Roger Boogie Rogers. Boogie Rogers. Yeah, Boogie. I try to mess up his name sometimes. This is Babe, one of his creations. And, I guess he was kind of from like a little bit of a rednecky area originally. And he kind of created these rednecky kind of characters like Babe. So the bit of parody, but just fun. Lots of good girl. So that's Babe, number 1. I'll just show you a few Babes. This one's kind of fun. Again, she has like almost no waist. She's very big. She's in the comics. She's super strong, so it's kind of fun stuff. Kind of reminds me of Beverly Hillbillies. The girl, that used to be in. I think it was like she was super strong yet, yet very frail looking, like just kind of pretty and yet super strong. Same kind of idea as Babe. Then we got one more Babe. I'm trying to get the complete run of it. I'm just missing one issue, which is kind of annoying to me. Can't find that last issue. So those are all Babes. And then the last one, and this is one that is kind of underrated and kind of overlooked. He kind of worked with Bill Ward. And Bill Ward is considered to be like one of these well-known artists, well-appreciated artists. But this artist kind of would mimic his style, Bill Ward's style, and produce some really awesome stuff himself. So the artist is Gil Fox, and this is Torchy, which is a Bill Ward creation, but this is a Gil Fox cover. And some of the Gil Fox covers are quite nice. And he is really mimicking Bill Ward's style here. This, to me, almost looks like a Bill Ward thing with the girls with the really small feet and the shine on the dress. That's very Bill Wardish, but it's a Gil Fox cover. And Gil Fox did a bunch of the covers for Torchy. And some of the interior art, I think, as well. Another one that he worked on, which I have to take out of it. The tape is not opening it. One sec here. I thought this would come out easy, but it's trying to be, the tape is sticking too much. Okay, it's back here. I want to show it properly. Here's another Gil Fox. I just really like his good girl art. Again, you'll see sort of the thing where he did get a lot of influence by Bill Ward, and but he had his own style as well. I really do like Gil Fox as well. Um, he also worked on oh, what else? I want to say Thunder or something like that. But yeah, Gil Fox, great artist, underappreciated. Um, and those are three that I can think of. So Ernie Bushmiller, Gil Fox, and uh, Boogie Rogers. Booty Rogers. Okay, wow. So yeah, so three. Hopefully you enjoyed those ones. And next question comes from Toxic Pelican. 2 questions after hearing you speak of Pooh. And I was considering whether I was wondering whether if you have any comics with Tigger on the cover. Actually, I want to clarify. The Pooh that I was talking about was the Pooh that goes into a toilet from the Korean comic. It was like a very odd comic. Yeah, it was about Pooh. That was last week. Somebody asked me about if I had ever read a Korean manhwa, and that was the only one I read, where they talked about all the different types of Pooh. And yeah, but the Pooh that he's referring to is Winnie the Pooh, and he was wondering if I have any Tigger covers. I have one Tigger cover. I don't have that many Winnie the Pooh in my collection, but here's one Tigger cover, and this is Winnie the Pooh #1, and there's Tigger right there. I'm a big fan of Tigger. I loved how he would bounce on his tail and stuff. And this is the first appearance of Tigger and first appearance of Winnie the Pooh and Piglet and Kangaroo and all the what's the Joey? Is it Joey? I want to say what's the? I always forget their names. Eeyore and all those ones. But yeah, I was a big fan of Tigger. So yeah. So those are my Winnie the Pooh Tigger covers. I don't really have that many, sorry. And last question you asked, also, have you ever considered opening up a Comic Collector Geek forum? Actually, I do have kind of a forum within this YouTube channel. There's like what's called the community section, and I posted out a few things on that where I've posted out questions and did polls and stuff like that. I used to do it more often. Haven't really been active on it, but that's as close as I've gotten to creating a forum. But yeah, I probably wouldn't go any further than that because it's just too much work. Trying to keep it fairly low key. And then AJ Guez wrote, recently I've been picking up some Matt Baker. Looking at the previous sales, it appears that sales before 2013 or 2015 were unbelievably inexpensive. It appears that over the last 5 years, even, his books have gone up tremendously. Can you attribute the rapid rise in popularity to any event, documentary, or anything specific? Or is this popularity due to YouTubers like this channel fanning the excitement for his books? Yeah, I actually think that I strangely might have influenced the market on that one. So I was sort of getting into Matt Baker. I just thought he was kind of cool. And I was sort of building an appreciation for his artwork. And I noticed, and I spoke to Steven about it, and Steven was already kind of gung-ho on Matt Baker anyways, but we kind of fueled each other, if that makes sense. And I noticed that me talking about it on my channel fueled a few other people to like Matt Baker. Matt Baker was always sort of popular, but it really, and I don't think that there was any particular event except one other event. So I think there was a little bit of us just talking about it that fueled a few new collectors to come into Matt Baker. But there was one event that really did drive up the price of all Matt Baker's stuff. And that was, there was a huge sale for Phantom Lady 17. I think it was like a $400,000 sale. And all of a sudden people are like, who is this Matt Baker guy? Like all of a sudden, he was popular, but that really shot his popularity up. It's sort of like when Amazing Fantasy 15 sold for 3.6 million. All of a sudden, you saw all the Amazing Fantasies or Spider-Man books kind of shoot up a little bit just to fill in. People felt like, oh man, there's something here to this. So I think that one big sale, plus me talking about it and other channels also talking about Matt Baker, really got the market to go up. Now, one thing I have to say in that is it really doesn't take much to make the market in Golden Age to go crazy. It only takes like 3 or 4 buyers. It sounds weird, like, if you're looking at modern books, you need thousands of people to kind of get excited about a comic, or hundreds even, maybe, on certain books. But in the Golden Age, there's not that many. It's not like you're gonna have like censuses of like 1,000 books. It's not like that. It's more like tens of books, maybe 5 to 10 books. It's really low census counts. So just any new people coming into that market obviously makes the demand. There's not much supply, so any demand really drives up the prices. And that's a big thing with those Matt Bakers. There's not many of them, and a few extra collectors drives up the price. So that's kind of my feeling on it. Okay, next question comes from Troy Evans. Have you noticed any trends of Gen Z towards antique and collectible trade as a tangible asset due to the fear of not having ownership over their digital assets? If so, do you think it has an effect on comics? So what I've heard about Gen Z is that they're really into experience. They for example, my daughter buys crumble cookies, and each crumble cookie costs, I think it's like $10 or something. It's like fairly expensive for one cookie. And she'll drive, actually, like, it's about 30 minutes away where the crumble cookie place is located from my home. So she'll go there. She'll even take the bus. It'll take her an hour and a half to get there. It's like this big ordeal to get there. But then she'll buy this big cookie. It's a pretty massive cookie. I think they have like 700 calories. And, that whole thing is an experience, right? It's like this special cookie. It's a special event that takes her there, and, something to remember and talk about. And that's really kind of the way Gen Z thinks about collectibles. That's an experience. And the reason I explain all that is that kind of gives you some insight into the way I think Gen Z thinks. Now I'm talking about this as an older person, that I'm not Gen Z. I wish I were. I wish I was younger, but I'm not. So I'm saying this as an outsider. But what I've seen is part of the reason that they like Funko Pops is they kind of embrace that idea of memorabilia related to shows that they liked. Again, back to that experience. The Funko Pops kind of have that things that make them remember about the shows that they like, or the characters that they enjoy. And I think comics could fit into that. But right now, I don't feel like Gen Z has really embraced comics. They have embraced things like Dogman and all those kind of like scholastic books. And I think there could be those could go up in value over time. I really have a feeling, but there hasn't been that crossover into comics yet. I don't think Gen Z is really there yet. Hopefully they'll switch over, but right now I don't really see it. Still, most of the collectors that I see are from 35 plus, but you never know. If they start making better comics, or if like we older people kind of encourage our kids to start embracing comics, maybe they'll start enjoying it. I do try to encourage my kids to like comics, but so far not really right now. My son really liked comics when he was really young, but sadly not anymore. Okay, so I'm not sure if that gets to the heart of your question, but I don't think Gen Z's there yet. Is my ultimate thought on it. Okay, last question comes from Prenitz Hammett. Hammett. Are the tariffs going to affect the cost of comics to you as they cross the border? Well, I'm in Canada. The comics actually aren't crossing the border for me. Most of the comics are printed in Canada, so so they don't actually cross the border. However, what happens is the pricing is determined by what the U.S. price the comics at, and if there are tariffs, and I'm not really 100% sure if the tariffs are going to actually happen. That's just my opinion on it. They're sort of happening, but not really, if that makes sense. But what's going to happen is if the price of comics goes up in the U.S., let's say 25%, so instead of being $5, they go to $6 or whatever, that U.S. price, well, it gets translated into Canadian dollars, and that is what we pay in Canada. Now, it could be the case that a couple things happen, which are even bigger than the tariffs. We are very dependent on the U.S. economy in Canada, and we're very impacted by U.S. trade with the U.S. Between us. The way Canada is designed is really dumb. It's a dumb country. Sorry, Canada, but it's been driving me nuts since I was a kid, and I actually complained about this as a kid. I actually spoke with government people about it, and I said, this is dumb. In Canada, we have very strict trade restrictions between provinces. It's actually very hard to trade between the provinces in Canada, and it makes it that we actually lose a fortune in terms of lack of opportunities for trade because we can't trade with ourselves. And the barriers that we put up between the provinces actually make it hard for us to export our goods out of the country to like Europe or Asia or whatever. So it's really awkward in Canada. It's a really bad setup. And it's because of these sort of territorial disputes between the provinces. It's very odd. They all have different regulations, which makes it hard to transport stuff across. You actually have to rejig your things in order to go across provinces if you're just transporting it across provinces. Very awkward. So most of our trade, I think 80% of our trade goes to the US. It's like a massive amount of trade. And because of that, the tariffs hit us exceptionally hard. And the reason I say that is not only does it impact our trade, but it actually impacts our dollar. And so when we lose that value in our dollar because now our economy is weaker, it makes importing stuff from the US or anywhere else more expensive. And because we have these trade barriers between the provinces, it makes it actually hard for us to get goods and services, goods across the country. So it's really detrimental for Canada. And it's just because our politicians have been weak-willed in the past. Now they seem to be motivated to actually break down those trade barriers within the provinces, and that could be good. And Trudeau being gone, we're actually talking about building more access to our pipelines across the country. So there's like a bunch of things that are happening, which will be good for Canada. But for the most part, things in Canada are pretty sketchy. And what could happen is the price of comics, bring it back to comics, is double hit. So one, the price which is set in the US for what the comics are worth will go up because of, they have to import it from Canada. 25% adds 25% to the price. basic costs. Most of the cost is in the printing and in the creation of the comic. So that will drive up the price. The other thing is the value of the Canadian dollar might drop. It's actually maybe going to drop to 60 cents to the US dollar. Right now it's at 70. Um, before Trudeau got into office, it was at $1. That's how much it's dropped since he's got into power. So this could be like, if it drops to 60 cents, well, that is a massive increase in the cost difference between US and Canadian dollars. Well, that means that we'll be paying a lot more for our comics. So it's a really scary time in terms of the whole comic scene. What this will do, I don't know, because it really does impact both the Canadians and the Americans, because comics will be more expensive regardless, for Canadians and for Americans. And right now, comic books are kind of already becoming a luxury item. Like, they're really pricey. It's already pushing out that younger demographic that now can't afford comics. I remember as a kid, 25 cents and you could get 3 comics sometimes. Like those 3 bundles would be 25 cents or 75 cents or $1. There'd be, some affordable amount. Now, it's kind of like, they're pricing out the kids. So yeah, those are the ways I see these tariffs impacting the price of comics. Now, one other thing I should say is, I really do think the tariffs are a negotiation tactic, and I do see them being applied, but then easily removed once Trump gets what he wants. Just the question is, will our governments, and it feels like the Canadian government is kind of leveraging the fact that Orange Man bad. They're leveraging that, and they're actually wanting the tariffs to be applied in order to make their own citizens suffer, so that they can use it as political clout to say, hey, we're standing up against this evil man. That's kind of the way I feel like our governments are going, rather than say, hey, let's work with him and get a deal done that everybody prospers from. But our governments don't think that way. They think more about what their political advantages will be. Even if you don't like Trump, you have to work with him. You don't have much choice for the next 4 years. You got to do something. Our governments have to learn that. But right now, it looks like they haven't learned that, and I think we'll all suffer as a result. I don't really know, but I hope this has been interesting. I hope I didn't get too political there. I was trying to be a little bit, educational in terms of understanding the way things work in Canada. I hope that it was entertaining. So again, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have a question you'd like to ask me, try to avoid the political stuff too much, but you can ask me whatever, and I will answer. Just put it in the comments below, and I will answer it next week. So again, thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye for now.